out here, the St. Paul campus, my favorite of the two University of Minnesota campuses. But they just put in this charming little rock garden. Well, it's actually not that little. It's, about 20 feet long. That's a good size, maybe 25 feet. But they have many, many charming winter hardy varieties of cactus that they put in here. And it's still, I think, pretty new. A lot of them are definitely more on the trial side and has some insulation from this building here, but they're very, very lovely. So starting out, they have tiny Michigan native form. They have the Apuntia humifusa that everyone has. I don't know why, do they call it a humifusa? Yeah, humifusa. Sometimes you see it called different things, just based on like cespitosa or things like that, or macrorrhiza, but this is definitely humifusa because it doesn't have spines, it just has glochids, and they're very, very green. They have a lot of things that aren't labeled with these little sticks, so it's all color-coded, but this looks just like the tiny Michigan form. And back here they have a very nice crop of Peter Pan, which they classify as Polyacantha crossed with Tortoise spina, which I don't think it is. I was always told that it was Fragilis crossed with a Simochila, and maybe that's been reclassified. No, the star of the garden is this 2.5-3 foot tall Cylindropuntia imbricata, which is of course the Colorado tree cactus. It's very difficult to grow here, I think. You have to find one that has a good form. Now this one has the benefit of not really getting much western wind, so it's not very, we're in with little inlet here, so it's very insulated for one thing from the building. It's probably living really more zone 6-ish, borderline 5-6, I'd say. And then of course, it's not that, you don't get too much wind here, I don't think. And winter full sun, I'd say this is really growing in pretty part sun as far as most cactus gardens go, but look at this is just spectacular. And yeah, there's more Peter Pan. That's a very, very nice plant. You can see it did have some winter dieback on it, but it's really grown past that. There's some winter dieback there. Oops, focus, okay. And then there's some back there, but it's really doing really well. It's nice to see. This is a, a Fragilis. They don't specify where it's native to, and they just say, Fragilis are from Canada all the way down to the southwest. So there's a better picture. So that's sad. There's more of the tiny Michigan Fragilis, so at least they specify the type on that one. This one they don't specify a type on. It has some very nice spines on it though. And then all throughout this garden they have all these lovely, lovely, lovely little, why is my zoom not focusing? Focus! They have all these lovely little Escobaria bibipara seedlings. They're no bigger than your index fingernail, but they're just lovely. And it's so nice to see them, that they've grown them from seed. They don't specify, again, type locality, but they should. There's some yuccas in here, so that's nice. The interesting thing that they've gotten to survive here is M. darwini, I can never say it, Mahuanopsis darwini, Mahuanopsis. It doesn't roll off the tongue, really. But it's doing very well, and you can see it's had some issues with rot. And I think this has really been put in within all this has been within the last 4 years. I would say 2021 or 2, maybe. Maybe even some more recent than that, maybe last year. But M. darwini is very hard to get to grow. It's not wet hardy at all. All the roots will rot out very easily over winter, so it needs exceptional drainage. They have some very, very nice Reichenbachii specimens. They're very, very big. And there's a Reichenbachii. That one's not doing well. These are huge, though. Absolutely, absolutely huge. I hope they're making. They're nice, and the one is clustering. And let's see, tiny Fragilis here. They don't specify locality on those. Tiny Escobaria there. These are Fragilises too. It's a different kind of Fragilis. They don't say what it is, but they're cute. Almost spineless, but not quite. These back here are a Fendleri x Reichenbachii hybrid, which they say is native to Texas, Arizona, and Mexico. It's fun that they have those, and they're a really nice size. The one right here is well beyond finger length. Very, very fun to see. They're very beautiful. Escobaria vivipara. They have just tons and tons of little seedlings all through here. Unclear though, again, There it is, and then the sign will inform you that the CBS Conservatory Botanical Collection, it was donated by the St. Paul Garden Club. I should give them a talk because they're missing a lot of varieties that they should have. This one does not have a tag associated with it. It's a bit tricky. It almost looks like a southern form of an Escobaria, would be my guess. Or maybe some kinds of Cactus. I'm not really sure. It could be either one. It looks more, I'm tempted to say more of an Arizonica Escobaria vivipara. They have tons and tons and tons of little Escobaria. There's one hiding here. Right there. So cute. More Escobaria. This is a Cactus. I don't know why they couldn't put a label on it. It's a lovely white Cactus. And this one is interesting. It's a Pelosipora ziziana, which they've grown from seed. Now, some of them have died out. This one's died out, I think. And I'd say that one's dying out. Maybe that's dying. I don't want to really mess with it. But you know, Pelosipora is the newly reclassified Escobaria vivipara. Pelosipora vivipara now. So that's interesting. This one is mislabeled. That is definitely an Echinacerius. It's not a Cactus. That's damn sure. Damn sure. This they're correct on though. That is the Escobaria missouriensis. Cute little bugger there. And they have more viviparas through here that they've grown from seed. Very nice to see. Eva Flores. These are actually really nice. They're a very fat and stout variety that kind of clumps. They have another one right here. It's very cute. I mean, the shape almost reminds me of a horse crippler, but not quite. So that's a very nice form. You have a spurge here, which I would weed if I didn't want to be in trouble for anything. I don't know. Maybe they're trying to grow spurge. Who knows? That one back there isn't labeled either. It looks like an Escobaria. Anyway, but it's a very lovely cactus collection. Not that big. Definitely has room to grow, but very exciting that they have this here.